So you have that inspection period. After that inspection period is normally when the appraisal gets ordered. A lot of times the appraisal does get done within the first 10 days also, but most of the time appraisers take, a week and a half to 2 weeks to complete it because they're pretty backed up. So usually the inspection's done first, everything goes swimmingly there, and then you're still moving forward, right? Next, the buyer gets an appraisal. The appraisal tells you what the value of the home is. And that's a whole nother negotiation process in the sense that, say you listed the home for $350,000, but the appraisal comes in lower than that at $325,000. Well, the lender is only gonna lend you up to what the value of the home came in at. The remaining amount has to be made up somehow. Whether the seller decides to drop their price down to what the value was, so they're saying, you know what, it's all good. Well, instead of taking $350 for it, we'll take $325, which is what the value. Awesome. Or what might happen is the seller may be like, or you may be like, if you're the seller, no, I want the buyer to bring in the difference. I want the buyer to bring in that extra $25,000 because I still want $350 for this house. And then obviously you can meet somewhere in the middle where you're like, hey, how about we split it? My buyer will bring in half, seller, you drop it down half. So the whole process is a negotiation, which is why picking the right realtor is somebody that can negotiate, to be 100% honest with you and be your advocate. What if the financing falls through on the buyer side? Well, if the financing falls through on the buyer side, ideally, you get to keep the earnest deposit if it's past that 10-day inspection period. Nothing negative happens to you as the seller. You just basically put the listing back up and then accept another offer. And a lot of times, as a listing agent, what we'll do is we'll accept a backup offer already from the start, so that if that does happen, you have another offer right there on the table you can get started with, and you don't have to waste any more time relisting it and waiting another couple days, 5 days, a week, whatever. So really, on the listing side, if that happens, it's frustrating and it does extend the process out, which nobody wants, but there's nothing really you have to worry about as far as financially on the selling side. There is an advantage to having a realtor do both sides of the transaction for you, meaning if I'm listing your house, if I'm a realtor, obviously I'm working with buyers and sellers, right? And I know I have a buyer that wants a house in the same area you're selling it and the same price range. Well, what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, my buyer might be interested in the house you're selling, and we can actually get a deal done before we even list it.